In this special double feature edition of Is It Still Playable, I will be covering the final two Call of Duty games in my Call of Duty PS3 journey. First, we're going to be looking at Call of Duty 3, a game I've never played the online for, and afterwards we'll take a look at one of my most hated from the franchise, at least from this generation of consoles, Call of Duty Ghosts. I may do a separate video covering it on the PS4, but as far as I'm concerned, the less I play Ghosts, the better. For my sanity. That being said, let's talk about Call of Duty 3. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I wish I did, but the problem is no one is playing this online anymore, at least on the PS3. Although, ironically, the only time I was able to find any players whatsoever was the moment I started recording. Less than 8 people were playing though, and the one lobby I was able to connect to, every single player was using the rocket launcher. I only lasted maybe 5 minutes before I said screw this and had enough. We have to consider the game came out in 2006 on the PS3. It's over 15 years old at this point, so the lack of players being online is not surprising in the slightest. So unfortunately, yeah, that's really all I have to say about the game. No one is playing it, and even if you do connect to a small lobby, it's not worth bothering with. Now we have Ghosts. Never thought I would ever play this game again, but here I am. Here's the wild thing about this game and my relationship with it. Now, despite the fact that, well, to be blunt, I hate Ghosts with a burning passion, for some bizarre reason next to Call of Duty 4 and Black Ops 2, Ghosts holds my highest kill death. I have no idea why that is, but it is definitely bizarre. To be fair, during this time frame, I was in my prime with competitive shooters, but that just goes to show that even if I am good at a game, I don't have to like it. I know, I've bitched and moaned about this game for far too much, and that's not the point of this video. So let's get to the topic at hand here. And that, of course, starts with the player base. Well, it's definitely low here on the PS3, holding anywhere from around 500 to at max, I think I've seen around 750 players online. But only around 300 to 400 of them are actually in the playlists. This would be lower than some of the other Call of Duty titles I've covered, like Black Ops 1 and 2, and even Modern Warfare 3 at times. The player count being lower than those other games, I felt surprised about. But then again, maybe the bulk of Ghost players are playing this on the PS4 and Xbox One, and not on their previous generation counterparts. Even though the player base is low, I was thrown off. Believe it or not, there is still somewhat of a variety of game modes that people are playing. As always, Team Deathmatch is the big one here, but there were also people in modes like Free-for-All, Gun Game, Reinforce, Domination, and Hardcore Team Deathmatch. Connecting to lobbies wasn't all that difficult at all. You might experience longer wait times getting into lobbies and then matches, but it's really not bad at all. As for the lag, I don't really think I noticed anything outside of usual for Ghosts. Thanks to its weird hybrid dedicated server type deal, I don't really recall any major glaring issues with the lag or any sort of major connection based problems. Yeah, okay, there might have been a few times where the lag was questionable due to a possible dip in the connection, but for all I know, that could just be me. I'll be blunt, I am terrible at this game now, and for me to blame things like lag because I'm terrible at the game would be incredibly dishonest and just unfair. Something in my head told me that Ghosts would be filled with hackers, at least on the PS3 version of the game, mostly because I didn't really think the devs gave a shit about these older generation versions. Ironically, Ghosts, I think this was one of the very few Call of Duty games where I never came across one hacker the entire time I played. Well, at least that I'm aware of. Now, this doesn't exactly prove that hackers do not exist in this game. You or I could jump onto the game in a week or even a month from now and every other lobby could be riddled with hackers. So basically, your mileage will vary, but I'm pleasantly surprised to say that there were no hackers in my 5-6 hour play of this. Ghosts, it's just a rough one for me, at least on the PS3. It's just such an ugly looking game. The textures are super muddy, and in a lot of maps the lighting makes it very difficult for me personally to distinguish enemies from objects. Even at mid-range distances, I have problems like this. The next-gen version of the game, the issue goes away almost entirely. In fact, the PS4 and Xbox One version of the game I actually think is really, really pretty. It honestly looks great, but the PS3 one, it's rough for me. Very, very rough. You may not have that issue like I do. I don't know what to say. I'm getting old and my eyesight isn't as good as it was when I was a teenager. If you're looking into the possibility of playing squads with others online, unfortunately that's not going to happen unless you are playing with a group of friends. No one is playing squads, and I'm talking both the co-op and competitive type modes. I tried finding lobbies on many occasions. I wasn't getting anywhere with it. And I figured this would happen, only because I think even way back when, not that many people were even playing squads to begin with. And that's sad for me because I actually really like this mode. Fine, it had a lot of flaws, but you know what? I liked it. It was good for downtime if I really didn't care to play competitively. I almost forgot about this mode until recently when I first popped it into my PS3 a couple days ago. And I remember playing this with friends on the PS4, and we all kind of were like, okay, fine, Extinction is cool, but it really doesn't hold a candle to zombies. Not that it's a bad mode, but I think personally it's just nowhere near as fun or exciting as zombies. And in fact, I would say that I get bored way quicker with Extinction than I ever did with zombies, even in some of the terrible maps. But hey, there's still people playing it. Sorta. Around 50 of them, but still, getting into a match might be a little tricky and time-consuming, but it's definitely still possible and playable. The lag in Extinction, I did seem to notice it was more of a problem than in the regular multiplayer. There was at most about a half-second delay, which was very noticeable when you were throwing grenades, since the animation and the physical seeing that grenade go in the air was delayed by a half-second or so. So now we have come to the point in the video where I ask if these games are still playable in 2022. Well, it goes without saying that Call of Duty 3 is unplayable, at least on the PS3. But what about Ghosts? To my surprise, it's more or less the most playable Call of Duty that I've covered in this entire series. And I can hate this game all I want, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's nearly a decade old at this point, but outside of it having that lower player count with limited game modes, there's really nothing holding it back from being playable. There's little to no hackers involved, which is obviously a huge deal, and the connection is no real different than what I can recall many years ago. Yeah, Squads is not playable, but then not many people touch that mode to begin with, and Extinction is still technically there. The player count is very low on that, so I would highly recommend that if you ever did want to play it for one last run, or maybe you've never played Extinction before and are curious about it, I would play it now before you can't any longer. With only 50 plus people playing it, it's only going to last so much longer. So yeah, that concludes my series of Is It Still Playable for the Call of Duty franchise on the PS3. And before anyone says anything, yes, I am purposely leaving out one Call of Duty game in particular, Advanced Warfare. It's not a game I've even played on the PS3, and to be completely honest with you, I forgot it even existed on the older consoles. Look, unless there's a mass amount of people who want me to cover Advanced Warfare, I'm going to pretend that it doesn't even exist. Alright everyone, I really hope you all enjoyed the video and the series. I've been having more fun making these videos than I thought I would. They're fun to make, and they bring back a lot of memories, both good and bad, with me and my friends and some of the enemies that I've come across in those times of playing these games. Anyway, thank you again for watching. take care, and as always, I will see you next time.